Those of you who I don't know, which I think is no one, actually, I'm Mayor Jennifer Maxey, and I'm so honored to be here today to showcase all of the hard work that not only our internal team has done, the STOS team and all the consultants, but most importantly, the community. This project was driven by community spirit. And we could not have made it through this feasibility study without all of your input. So we can sit in our offices and have visions, we can write grants and get money, but it all comes down to what does the community need to move North Adams forward. And this community needs a project just like Reconnecting Communities and what you're gonna see today. So I'd like to turn it over to my dear friend and colleague, Christy. Can you believe it's almost been 4 years we've been working together and we haven't killed each other yet? Christy Edmonds, Executive Director of Massimo.
I love it that I don't have to adjust a mic because we're about the same. And it was one of our early bonding moments, was it not? Yes. So welcome everybody. It's so beautiful to have you here. It's also wonderful to be able to celebrate the work that we have put into together for certainly a year, but more than a year. You know, when I first took on the directorship at MassMoCA, the mayor had said to me, like on the second day, what's your vision for the overpass? And I was like, well, I'm an art museum director, but what became apparent, and it informed me so much, is something that this community did long ago, which was create the vision for the year 2030. That study that you spent 2 years on plus was so full of intelligence, resilience, and absolute searing identification of the kinds of things that you believed that in dreaming a future for North Adams forward needed to be carried into the attention of finding the resources eventually that would get us there. And I was elated to get my hands on that thing. I think it was written in 2011 or something, so it was before any of us, but the continuity of a great idea, the continuity of great ideas and community care coming together to inform both government and one another. There's nothing more powerful. So although money doesn't always move at the speed of our desire, it doesn't mean that our desire was missed. And that to me is a really important thing about what stimulated then us working together to go after the federal grant for Reconnecting Communities. And I just wanted to frame that briefly for you. That was done in 2023. It was a different federal administration. It was after the bipartisan bill had passed. And what was being looked at the time for infrastructure nationwide was a certain carve-out that could reconnect communities because of the tremendously damaging impact of urban renewal, which happened in the 60s and 70s, and it hit here. So it was a super competitive grant. I was brand new. I was reading your study. And we were talking through, like, what could we do, and we're going to need resourcing. This seemed like the perfect way to begin a different partnership, for the partnership this community has had for a long time. That led to us as one of the only rural communities in the United States of America to receive close to $1 million to really look at this overpass. And there was a competitive process, an advisory board, all of them, that then landed on urban planners and others that could actually take a look at this. What do you do if you repair it? What's the future there? What about replacing it differently? What's the future there? What about removing it? Those were 3 really important criteria. The other criteria was the community has to inform the direction that takes. And you all have spent at least a year, if not more, in your lifetimes working to inform how this study would move forward. That whole process has also informed MassMoCA's long-term strategic plan and commitment. A commitment not just to how do we generate economic impact for North Adams, which is critical to this organization, but it's also very much about how do we contribute to place, because we are interdependent. It's not that MassMoCA is separate and above and from. You guys have built the institution in the same way any of us are, as we bring artists from around the world and communities and so on and so forth. But we are interdependent to this future. And so our contribution to place is not just, let's keep making things happen at MassMoCA and the ripple-on effect of economic impact will happen. We started to really realize there are civic, big infrastructure things here that we and our faiths together will be affected by. This study basically enforces what this community said long ago and far away, but now with clear and present data attached. So I just wanted to give you a little background and express a lot of gratitude and recognition, because as with all things, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. The city of North Adams, particularly the mayor for partnership, and Maria Kozik for her work continuously and through it, and along with the team at the city. It's a lot of work to pull this stuff together, y'all, and on top of everything else, and minimal economies to do it, so thank you. Jenny Wright and the North Adams Partnership, and Amber Besaw and NBCC for really running a lot of the community consultation work so that we could find each other, have meetings, discuss, set up the microsite, etc., etc. Every one of you and the entire community, and from the moment of the beginning, our federal government, certainly forward-looking, our state and our local government partners across the shop, really looking at transformational possibilities. And I just want to say one more time, the other way that this matters is that when we start to normalize something that is a deep and profound scar, we also end up normalizing a certain kind of pessimism that a community voice may not actually be able to move the needle. This moved the needle, y'all. And it also moved that needle from, it's too daunting, it'll never happen, into, it is possible, here's the proof, and here's the way forward. So that is on all of us, and certainly on all of you, and particularly Chris Reed and the SOS team. You guys and your partners, Michael Murphy, everyone, I can't thank you enough. And with that, I should introduce Chris Reed from STOS, the urban planner, lead project person in his team. Please welcome.
All right, thank you. Welcome. It's pretty amazing to see so many of you here. It's a pretty exciting day for us. I hope it's as exciting a day for you as well. I want to recognize Chelsea Kilburn, who's really kind of led the effort from the office. All our traffic engineers over on the If nothing else, Paul and the mayor are the newest best friends in the world, and they have a direct connection to talk any level of traffic detail. It's been quite extraordinary. There we are. So, super exciting. I want to recognize the extraordinary partnership between the two people that just spoke. The leadership of the mayor and her staff with Maria and the entire staff, in partnership with Christy and Matt Smoka and her extraordinary staff as well. We don't see these kinds of partnerships in work that we do across the states, sometimes overseas as well. What you have here is a treasure, right? And the fact that you have city government working hand in hand with a globally recognized cultural institution is absolutely unique. And I gotta say, I just want to say thank you for that leadership, acknowledge that leadership, and I think they both deserve an incredible round. So both the mayor and Christy were able to give you a little bit of background. How do we think about repairing, replacing, or removing? But from the start, it's always been more, it's about more than just a piece of infrastructure, right? It's about more than just a bridge. It's about more than just the technicalities of what do we do with this thing, right? It's really about the future of North Adams. This bridge, this overpass, urban renewal, had an extraordinary impact on the city, and I would say an extraordinarily negative impact on the city. And so from the start, we made the argument, look, we need to think big here. We need to think about the future of this place. We need to think about the people who live here and who work here and have devoted their lives to this place. How do we improve this community? How do we begin to think about extending the cultural initiatives? How do we begin to extend some of the economic opportunity here as well? This is a generational opportunity, almost once in a lifetime. right? You're not going to have this chance again to reconsider what we're doing here. And so from the start, we said, look, there's such an amazing array of resources here, such an amazing set of people here to build on. And yet this is a community that's been harmed, right? Downtown is a series of islands right now, isolated islands of activity. And as you see from this image, it's not just the overpass, it's overscaled roads, parking lots, all the remnants of urban renewal that had such promise, but those promises were never realized here. We want our city back is what you told us. This is what North Adams used to be, used to look like. Incredibly tight-knit, right? Housing downtown, places to live, places to work, offices, commercial, industrial, smaller streets scaled to people, a safe place to be, a place for neighbors and community, right? This is all of what was wiped out through urban renewal. Look at Main Street, back before urban renewal, right? The tightness, the intimacy, the texture of this place, right? And look at all of what was wiped out through urban renewal, right? The hope that bigger streets scaled to trucks, the hope for future redevelopment that never came, wiped out the heart of this community in a way that is quite extraordinary and unsurpassed in many of the cities and towns that we've worked with. And that loss is felt even to today, right? You've told us about it, right? And you've told us we want to take that city back. We want to go back. In order to go forward, we need to go back. And so when you look at all these barriers, the barriers not just Route 2, right? It's streets that aren't safe, crossings that aren't safe. It's streets, roads, parking lots. People don't feel good about moving through this space, right? So it's more than just the physical infrastructure, it's perceptual barriers as well. And all this needs to be overcome. As Christy mentioned, we've done some extraordinary research here. Route 2 is, North Adams is the only town west of Athol that has 4 lanes of Route 2 going through the center of town. It's the only town. Why? And it's only like 6 blocks. Why does that exist? And then it's duplicated by 4 lanes on Main Street, right? That's like too much road for what's going through here. The truck traffic here is lower than other nearby towns and cities, and yet we have bigger and more roads to accommodate that. And even with all that, we have intersections that don't work. Every time I talk to the mayor, the first time I came here, she said, "Come here, I want to show you something." Brought me into her office, she said, "Look at that intersection, that's a nightmare. It's always backed up," right? And you're right, the data supports that, right? There are a couple key intersections here that just don't work and they're too big. They're scaled to trucks and infrastructure going too fast, right? So all those things begin to add up. Parking lots everywhere, right? Studies show, even at peak, there are 1,000 too many parking spots downtown, right? There is space to make change here. And of course, we've got the overpass itself, which has structural deficiency, and MassDOT's been working hard to keep up with the necessary repairs to make sure that things are safe and people are safe as well. That was some of the technical research. As others have mentioned, the work that we did with all of you, your neighbors, was quite extraordinary as well. You told us we need safer pedestrian crossings, we need more spaces for people and bicyclists, we need central community gathering spaces for this community to come together, right? We want to rediscover our river. It's hidden, right, by all the infrastructure that's out there. We want flexible space. And all of what we heard from this extended work, almost 5,000 individual inputs over the course of 10 months. That's really amazing for a city of this size, right? This is a community that's ready for change. You've told us that very clearly, right? And you have hopes and ambitions for what the future is. You've looked with us at the various options that were on the table. You've given us feedback. We've made those refinements. And at the end of the day, it came back to, do we repair it? Do we replace it? Or do we remove it entirely and restitch? Maria, do you have a drum roll? Yeah. Take that over. right-size the heart of North Adams and reestablish the heart and soul of this community, right? This is the only way forward that's going to make real change in this community, right? Go back to look forward. Take this historic street grid and the scale of those streets, bring those back, restitch the connections that used to exist. That's the physical work, but it's just the beginning of what we can do socially, culturally, and economically as well. And so what you'll see in the plan is very distinct ways to restitch, to remake some of that historic street grid here with safe pedestrian crossings that are designed for people. By taking the overpass down, we're also capturing people who are moving east and west on Route 2. We actually want them to come into town. We want them to take advantage of local businesses, right? Go to local shops, go to local cafes, extend their time when they're coming here for the museum, right? So the idea that we're creating a truly walkable downtown that connects the major pieces, Masmoka, Main Street, and the like, and that we're creating really wonderful spaces for people, not for automobiles. As we rework some of that infrastructure, we have the opportunity to create 2 new community destinations, closing part of Center Street around Veterans Park to give that space the tranquility and honor that it really deserves, and to really extend the life and usability of that space, and also to create a new waterfront plaza right on the river, right at the front door of Masmoka, and to connect this with a tree-lined boulevard. That is a central move, creates a new sense of community, a new sense of connectivity, and a new identity for the downtown. But it also then sets up opportunity for new development, and new development, particularly in the St. Anthony's lot and on some of Masmoka's properties right along Marshall Street. Only through removing this piece of infrastructure, making this an investment in people-oriented public realm, will private investments come. We've done that research as well, and I'll talk to you about it in a moment. This is what it could look like. This is a view as if you're standing right on Marshall Street in the parking lot in front of Masmoka looking at this thing, right? Imagine the future when you take that thing down. You scale down Marshall Street and State Street, you extend the sidewalks, you do better street planting, and then you actually have live-work opportunities downtown, new residences, people living right there, new foot traffic on the streets, new opportunities for creative and maker spaces, and new opportunities for reaccessing the river and creating a sense of community life. How is it? What could it be like to have this new gathering space right at the foot of downtown, right on the banks of the Hoosick River, right? What an extraordinary opportunity you have to do it, but it's not possible unless you take that overpass down. Here, as if we're standing underneath the overpass along Center Street, what happens if we take it down? Rescale that street to the historic dimension of Center Street, again layer in live-work spaces so that people are living there, the streets are active, and as a pedestrian you feel like there's always something to do along the way. With this view again toward that central gathering space along the river. And then along Veterans Memorial, how do we take away traffic on one side of it to create a pedestrian-oriented space, right? For cafes, for gathering, and for a way to kind of give Veterans Park a buffer, and to give it the kind of quiet and respect that it needs, but also to reinforce it as a major piece at the heart of this community, and one that connects to the heart of Eagle Street as well. And so through all these measures, we see the opportunity to make investment, new kinds of investment in a really dynamic public realm, and pair that with private investments in new kinds of development that draw more people downtown. Live, work, play, study, enjoy culture. Is this a pipe dream? No way, right? We have evidence from the other side of the state in Jamaica Plain, a project that was far bigger and far more complicated than this, right? I think this was an $83 million price tag. It took about 8 years, but it also went around subways and railways and all this other stuff. This project isn't that scale. It's not going to take 8 or 9 years to do it, and it's not going to take $83 million to do it, right? It's an absolutely partnerships are going to include MassDOT, the state, city, the electeds, right? But this is a project that is absolutely possible. And with it comes great spaces for families, for biking, for pedestrians, and in this case also proved that if you make investment in infrastructure, new housing opportunities, new investment opportunities come as well. And those observations, these recommendations are backed up by our economic consultants who said, yes, there is a market for new forms of housing downtown. Yes, there is a way that we can both ground this district in arts and culture, but extend those initiatives as well. And there is a way in which we can rely on active street life and placemaking to really remake the heart of this space. But it requires coordinated cross-sector efforts, the same kind of extraordinary partnerships that began this project to begin with. The mayor and the city, Christie and MassMocha, MassDOT, and a number of other entities coming together to move this plan and move this vision forward, right? But again, it can only happen if you take the overpass down. Taking that down signals change. It signals a willingness to rechart the future of this place, right? And that's the opportunity you have right now. I encourage you to grasp it and run with it and make good change for the future of the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, very much. Before we get into Q&A, I just want to tell a quick story about Paul Nelson, our traffic consultant. I don't even know what to call you other than my BFF Liz. So he gave me this map. Wait, hold on. I saw it. Where is it, Paul? There, yeah, that's kind of it. No, I guess that's it. There was a busier one. He gave me this map, and I said, Paul, I don't know where these arrows are going. He said, you just have to work with it and turn it around. So I got up at 2 o'clock in the morning with my dog and my baseball cap and my glasses. And I went to the intersection at City Hall, and I'm walking around the road. There's no traffic. And all of a sudden, the blue lights go on. And it's a cruiser. It's a police cruiser. And it's a new officer who doesn't recognize me or my dog. And he says, ma'am, can I help you? And I said, yeah, I'm the mayor. I'm working on my traffic plan for this intersection. And he says, you're not the mayor. She sleeps at night. So, Paul, we got a lot of walking to do so I don't get arrested. But needless to say, I didn't get arrested, and now everybody knows about how we study Paul. So where do we go from here? What's next? I will tell you this is a feasibility study that will not sit on the shelf. I will tell you this is the feasibility study that we are already working on. We are working on, as soon as we got the executive summary, we are working on securing funding to start evaluating what I call our 6 touch points of intersections. We can't take the bridge down until we know how we're going to handle the traffic. So I thank MassDOT for working with us thus far. I look forward to working with you. I see Jesse and Casey in the room. We're gonna need money, guys, so start shaking those trees. No matter who's president, North Adams is gonna fund this project one way or the other. But where do we go from here? So, not to be a Debbie Downer, but where do we go? We know our bridge is falling down. London Bridge is falling down. That's my ringtone on my phone lately. And we know that we have to make a repair to get to this project. So we will be repairing this bridge with the help of MassDOT very soon, which is a Debbie Downer. But while we're doing that, we will be securing and working on engineering studies and construction of the other intersections. So when we take this bridge down, which I say we will take this bridge down, we will be prepared with the traffic flow into the downtown and the surrounding streets. So there's a lot more work to come, and there's a lot more community engagement that's going to occur. Now, with the state of the federal government, one would hope we would get another reconnect in communities. Jesse, I'm putting a lot of pressure on you, but we're going to keep working it. So as we evolve, I hope we all stick with this. Again, this is a project that will happen. It's going to take some time and some collaboration, and and a lot of permitting and a lot of engineering and a lot of walking at 2 a.m. in our intersections. So please continue to be good partners with us on this, continue to support this. And when you see a state legislator or a federal legislator, you remind them how important this is to North Adams. We will get this project done, folks. One way or the other, we're gonna do it. So how about some questions for Chris or Chelsea or me or Christy? Hi, Eric.
Hey, how are you?
I miss you. How have you been?
Great, how are you? You guys just talk about yourself. In case any of the rest of us want to walk around at 2 o'clock in the morning, can this presentation be put on the website later so we can access it at our leisure?
Yes, I believe the executive summary is already on the North Adams website with the reconnecting communities, but we will add this oh.
The entire report and all its appendices are already on the website. Through the Community Development Department, there's links. It's on the very front page of the website, so you should be able to download that. It is, the report itself is 115 pages and 25 meg to download. And the appendices are 551 pages, about 45 meg. So take a little time, but it's all there. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't, can you go back to, I think, if you go back 2 pictures, yes. So showing arrow going up East Main Street, I can't visualize how the traffic is gonna come down through 2 and then through town without doing East Main Street, because East Main Street is not good for trucks. It's
Yeah.
steep and twisty.
So the question was looking at the arrow on East Main Street and how we direct traffic through.
No, on the other side.
Over here.
Going
over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
So with traffic engineering, and again, I'm learning a lot too from our friend, although I think he likes you more than he likes me. What we've learned is that there are multiple ways in which to control traffic, right? One is the physical infrastructure, so reworking the street grid. One is through signalization. How do you time the signals to get the flow working in the way that you need it to? And the other one is signage and restrictions on where traffic can and cannot go, right? So all 3 of those things are at work here. Chelsea, can you point, so if you're coming in from Union Street on Route 2,
Yeah.
suddenly instead of like going straight and suddenly being out of town before you even realize
Get
you're in
the
town,
overpass.
right?
So what do you do?
What you do from that point is you can take a left into town, but now we've reestablished a number of different safe, clean, simple intersections along the new Center Street so that you have 3 or 4 choices about how you turn left to get into town. Traffic distribution is really good in a place like that. It means that all the traffic isn't going into one place, right? We do suspect a lot of the traffic will continue down the new Center Street, right to that new community plaza on the waterfront, which gives people direct access to the front door of Massimoka. And then when they turn left, they're right at the foot of Main Street, right?
But I'm worried about the trucks.
Yep. So the trucks, so the trucks will do that same maneuver. Coming from the west to the east, the traffic will go along West Main Street, will then go through the heart of downtown on Main Street, and then will be directed up Church Street to connect back to Union Street. Trucks are not going to be allowed on East Main Street, and that's one of the signage and regulatory pieces to this as well, right?
But I don't think trucks are allowed on Church Street, right?
Correct. So that, and it's really important, that'll be very, very clear, but we want to get trucks back onto Union Street at that point. So there's a lot of multi-part careful coordination of those elements, right? But in many ways, we had that moment when the lanes on the bridge were narrowed anyway. This kind of traffic pattern is kind of what you were experiencing a few months ago anyway, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is one thing that the mayor wants to continue to study further, right? But given the street grids, we know that grids function better than consolidating all traffic in one place, and that's really the goal. Yeah.
What can we we, the City of North Evans, and our collaborators do to ensure that when we do this reconfiguration, that very inspiring development actually does follow?
Yeah, so we have the wonderful opportunity that the St. Anthony's lot is owned by the city. The 2 lots in front of Massimoca are owned by Massimoca, right? Those are your 2 big players in town, right? So they can help facilitate some of what that investment and development opportunity may be. The economic development consultants have begun to think about what are the tools that they have available to them, and they're different tools, because one's a public entity, one's a nonprofit, right? But how can they partner with developers in order to make that happen? Developers want to see investment, improvement, money being put to good use. That's what you've got here with these 2 partners. Great. One question here, and then I'll come back.
My name's Dawn Nelson, and I just would like to express a personal concern. Looking at Church Street and Eagle Street there,
Yep.
it's looking like those are the 2 of the major streets that are going to be the cutback. I'm feeling ultra protective of Eagle Street.
Yep.
I feel like Eagle Street is a rich historic resource
Yep.
and a rich human resource. And
Yep.
I'm hoping that will get protected.
Yes, absolutely. The idea was not only to protect it, but to create some better pedestrian connections to it as well. The nice thing too with the new set of intersections along Center Street there is, yes, some people will go down Eagle Street, but others will now go down Holden, and others will go down Marshall to State Street, right? So you have choices. So in that sense, we can alleviate some of the pressure of funneling all the traffic through Eagle, which again will help to maintain that kind of wonderful character of the street.
Still feels fair, but I feel a real hope that it will be
Yeah.
protected, because
Yeah.
that's a very
It's,
And
yeah.
it's supported too by open space. You all have that level of pocket park space already.
Yeah.
So I think to connect that and enhance that.
So the plan is to keep the pocket park
Yep.
open and not
Yep, yep. And even to extend Lincoln Street, again, put in a safe intersection where people can cross the street, signal safely, then move down and actually hit the pocket park from the backside as well. So we're making better pedestrian connections as well.
I was just gonna say, because I felt the same thing, you go, Eagle Street, right? It's fascinating that so many of the other streets that once were had a vibe akin to that, because they were smaller, they were human scale. You could walk across them, you could do your thing, and those are gone. Imagining, and it's hard for us to do, y'all, because it's like, how do you see to the possibility of what we can't touch right now? And it's a long way out. But the idea is to be additive to that character and quality, not diminishing and to reinforce those opportunities. And I'll just say, just quickly, in this process, I mean, the thing with Massimoca is that we work with artists and creatives and others and philanthropy and various things. Our job, essentially, as creatives, is to imagine different kinds of futures and not be scared of them. You know what I mean? Abstract or otherwise. But it doesn't mean we can do it. It takes everybody to do it. But those are the kinds of things that when you point to an Eagle Street and imagine an additive future that feels that hug, there are more of those pockets now for people to feel that sense of something. And we're a good many years away. But all of those things being registered are what we have to keep talking about and make sure happen. As I've gone out and spoken with other kinds of people who are interested in developing, or they've come back, they will say, as developers, like, care about housing or care about various things, that with the overpass, there's nothing to do. Without it, there's so much to be able to do. And we haven't had, you know what I mean, Dave Marisi can't do everything. And Jack Wadsworth, we gotta, you know what I mean? All right.
For here,
Okay, I have several comments / questions. One, it's great to give signage and tell people where we want them to go, but a lot of the great development was created before we had GPS.
Yep.
And GPS, we have a problem with East Main Street, more so in the post-GPS era with trucks being stuck. same thing, we have a bridge overpass and they keep getting stuck under, kind of like Northampton and I think there's some in Boston. So, you know, great. I think this is a great idea, I'd love to see it happen, but, you talk about JP's part of Boston. 678 million people live in that area compared to 150, not even 1,000 that live in Berkshire County. So making development decisions, your ROI is gonna be a lot quicker and a lot easier to establish, so I'm concerned about that. Secondly, are we making Center Street one way?
No, two-way.
Okay, so why are we sending trucks up Main Street? Why aren't we having them take a left onto Marshall and?
They can do that, actually.
I mean, I would
And
encourage that.
That's one of the things, it'll be part of the advanced, traffic work as well.
Okay.
But the whole idea is with the grid, you could, people move choices. And that's really good. That's really good.
The other option, the other thing I keep hearing about, and I've been talking about this, I lived here almost 40 years, is like you really need a rotary at City Hall and a rotary at the East Main-ish. And I live off of East Main, so that's my route of travel. I'm gonna drive that street, no matter where you tell me to go. Unless you make it one way and that better be down, because otherwise you'll never get up and so are you talking about a rotary part of this?
Yeah, you'll see in the report that there are studies for rotaries and studies for more traditional intersections. This scheme works with either. And again, part of that next step study is to really determine which of those solutions are best for flow and all that. So you're asking a lot of really great questions, right? Some of them are already starting to be addressed here. Some of them will be addressed in more detail in the subsequent study. But that's why it's important to have these next step works going forward. But at this level, we're confident, and Paul and his team have done the work here to really understand this is a workable solution, right? The traffic flow will work, and it's a matter of how do you tweak the different levers that are available. Yeah, over here, and then in front. Yeah.
I am curious about what needs to happen with the West Main Street ramp that goes down into Main Street.
Yep.
Right now, it's pretty congested as it is.
Yep.
Even with the, I'll go over that.
Yep.
So how will that have to change to deal with all the traffic that people are?
Yep. Yeah. So partly again that'll be detailed study to come, but one of the complications here is the street is at American Legion.
Oh, yeah.
So the timing of the main intersection is actually also timed to the signals on this other street. So suddenly that's a 5-point intersection, not a 4. So it's one of the things that will be addressed so that that'll all be consolidated and worked through. But again, you know, some of the preliminary work to look at that's already studied. They're looking at it in terms of a lighted intersection and in terms of a roundabout there to keep the flow going. But the whole idea is that by working that, by getting the signalization right, by figuring out that 5th intersection and looking at it all as one piece, we'll be able to be coordinated. Yes, right here.
I also wanted to ask about whether consideration is being given to how to make River Street easier to use for people who live
That's one of our intersections that we need to study.
Yeah.
It sounds like, so I guess there's a lot of exciting potential for the overpass being removed, but I think myself and a lot of people are wondering how the traffic will work, and you keep saying that that's gonna be in the future.
Yep.
But, you know, how are people getting from Adams to Lindstrom? Like, is West Main going to be a two-way going up to that possibility, or are they all going to be routed through West Adams?
No. The revised intersection at Main and West Main and State will be revised. Again, in the study, there are actually details of what turn lanes would be in the beginning of that work to better manage the flow of that traffic. But yeah, a truck coming up from south would simply take a left at that with a better designed intersection with signaling that makes sense.
And just really quick, if I can, the map with the arrows, what are the
afternoon peak, and midday Saturday peak hours. So that we generally look at kind of the peak hour of traffic volumes for our analysis. Duncan? No? It was answered already. Okay, great. And then,
Okay, I have a question full of angst and comedy. You mentioned there are 1,000 too many parking spaces in this town. Now, I believe that, because some of these parking places, I don't know where you would be going if you park there. But for the places that you want to go, I sometimes find there's not enough parking space.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm hoping that we can do that, because I did live in Jamaica Plain, and let me tell you, pure comedy. And as far as parklets and things, I love a parklet, but like they do in Jamaica Plain, they'll put some trees in the middle of a parking space, not making people feel good.
Yeah. So one of the important parts of this project looks at reestablishing on-street parking along Center Street and other places that it doesn't currently have. So instead of having to walk to that parking lot where it's like, half a mile away, you probably have a better chance of parking outside the new bookshop that's going to go into that new building, right? So we're looking very seriously at on-street parking as one of the strategies. And on-street parking is important too. It slows traffic down, and it actually makes it safer.
I love that, and I just have one other question, it's not in even the planning, but I think it impacts it. Being on Union Street right now, it seems a strange thing, kind of bottlenecking to get in the town. Is that gonna, I don't know, is Union Street gonna become a thing? As far as
That's
what?
another intersection where.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, 'cause that just seems like this good plan, and then getting them in there.
We'll do 2 more questions. Over here, Tim.
Chris, can you go back to that map you have there? So I know what it is, because this little story, I was the biggest skeptic on the team going into this project. In our very last meeting, I got up and said, I think we should tear the damn bridge down. And one of the things that intrigued me about this project, the structures you have up there at St. Anthony's parking lot and along Center Street, can you explain what those potentially can be?
Yeah. So St. Anthony's lot and the lots in front of Massimoca is what we consider phase 1 new development, right? Those buildings can house a combination of new housing types, so people can actually live in the heart of downtown. Some new retail spaces on the ground floor to really activate the street fronts. New spaces for creative arts and the creative culture that you have here, right? Both in conjunction with Massimoca as an extension to it, right? And so places to live, places to make art, places to socialize, places to buy new things. So the whole point is like, how do we get more people there, more foot traffic and all that? So it's really important. The other 2 buildings along Center that are also on city-owned lots, but we'll talk later.
And maybe Chris, just to add to, it's incredible that you have a grocery store in the middle of downtown. It's an amenity people would live in, and having development along New Center Street alleviates that sort of back of the building feel that you have right now, and reintroduces the fabric that you feel on Hill Street and along Main Street. So we saw a lot of opportunity there as well.
Great. One more question. There'll be plenty of time too for us to handle, so don't worry.
You may all know this, I just respect it, I don't need to live there, but best case, middle case, worst case scenario, how long?
Well, when you vote the next time, no.
Yeah.
I wasn't here last
We've
I've been on the federal level.
We've been debating this, and while we've had some consultation with the folks from NASA, we haven't actually sat down to really work through it all. But I was told a story a few years back, maybe a couple decades back at this point. There was a guy, elected governor called Mitt Romney. You may have heard of him. And coming into office, I was told that one of the big promises he made was to redo the flyovers for the Cape Cod bridges. And you look at that, which is a complicated project, right? Cars coming in from all sorts of places. That would normally be, I don't know, 10, 12-year timeline. Start to finish, it was done within 1 term of the governor, right? Because there was support at all best case, you could do it in a few months, right? A few years, sorry.
There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go.
I don't mean to interrupt, Chris. My name is Kristen Ellico. I'm the Western Mass Director for the Governor's Office. I'm excited to be here. This is not the first time that I've been engaged in this project, but I do want to say that, and I think the mayor and Christy and Chris and many of you who have been involved in this project in some levels, but not everyone in this room, has awareness that the Healy-Driscoll administration really believes in this project. The governor and lieutenant governor spend time here often, personally and professionally. And so we're really looking forward to working together, local, state, and federal, to make this happen. And I think that then sort of, utilizing past vision and past possibilities to be able to really connect in community to make something that is today just a vision, but tomorrow a real promise, is something that we're hoping to be able to collaborate with all of you with. So thank you for letting me kick you off the mic.
So before we end our program, there's one other person that I wanted to make sure that we thank. Jenny did a great job writing the grant. Our partner in crime was Carrie Burnett from the city of North Adams. Saturday afternoon, can we do this? Can we say this? Okay, let's talk about that. So these two ladies were instrumental. They were this launching point for all of this. Christy and I had a concept. They ran with it, and here we are today moving forward. So thank you all for coming. Christy, do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, I just wanted to remind everybody, there is food and it's yummy. Cheese, there's each other, there's good company. So stick around, ask Stalks and everybody, Chelsea and Chris and all of us. I want to thank Morgan Everett on our team here. One of the things that I was loving is the questions are coming, and what about turning left, and what about that, and all these kinds of things. You're already working towards solutions. You're working towards things you care about. Keep thinking about those things. Keep thinking. It may be a long horizon line ahead of us, but it becomes a longer horizon line if everybody just goes, well, that was an interesting thing, and she was right, the cheese was good. Keep dreaming a future forward. Keep thinking through the possibilities. Don't let something that seems daunting make us feel like we don't have something to say about that future. We gotta look after that future. We gotta dream it. We have to have optimism around it. We gotta look after one another as we do those things and take those steps and use our democracy to wonder if we should turn left or right. I know which direction I'm turning. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, keep the focus ahead and the belief moving forward. Don't let anything put a stoplight there, because that's how intelligence keeps letting time do its part of the lift for us, where we find resources, others, and reconvene. But thank you all, and thanks, Mayor, and thank you to Scott. Celebrate the great work of this project, I have one more quick announcement. Two, happy holidays to all of you. And the second one, I just got word on my little cell phone from Tim Muscarbo before we started. We will be opening the Brown Street Bridge on Monday. So we will